In parkour, you have obstacles to overcome. So do you in life. There are obstacles, but you can overcome them step by step.
Welcome to the Bucket List Life Podcast with Trav Bell, the world's #1 bucket list expert. Bucket List Life's mission is to help you get off the treadmill, stop Groundhog Days, hack your habits, and live a regret-free life. Because we know life's way too short not to live your bucket list life. So please welcome your host, Trav Bell, the Bucket List Guy.
Hey bucket listers, welcome to another episode of the Bucket List Life podcast. It's me, Trav Bell, the Bucket List Guy, your host. And I'm here with the amazing Joel Eggimann. Eggimann. Is that how we say it? Eggimann.
Yeah.
All right.
Some people call me the Eggman.
Eggman, yeah. There's an I in there, Eggimann, with a double N.
Exactly.
Mate, whereabouts are you in the world right now?
I'm in Vienna. This is where I live. Vienna, Austria, not Australia. Don't mix it up.
Yeah, how many times have we had to explain that to people? Mate, where and you're in Dubai last week. We were going to do this in Dubai, but for different reasons. Why were you in Dubai last week?
It was actually for work. I'm working with a client who is going to release a new product, like a camera product, this week or next week. And I was there to shoot some content, which is very exciting, like to have this opportunity.
Yeah, we'll dig into this. Mate, here's a question I ask all guests, no matter where they come from, no matter where they are in the world, is, when you enter a country and you get an incoming passenger card and you got to fill in that little bit, or you do here in Australia anyway, and you got to fill in that little bit where it says, what do you do for an occupation? Occupation ? So when you're filling that out, what do you put as your occupation?
It's always difficult. Like for quite some time, even though I didn't work as it anymore, I put in carpenter. Like I did an apprenticeship as a carpenter, yeah, so that's my profession. So even when I already did parkour, I mean, we're going to get into that as well, I guess. I was still saying like, okay, carpenter, because that's something people can relate to. Like they know what it is.
Yeah, right. So you can swing a hammer. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think now most of the time I just say filmmaker. Yeah. Or like
a lot easier. You don't really want to confuse those guys, too much.
Exactly.
Yeah. You don't want to confuse them and be taken into a room that you don't want to go into and question. So
I help people to accomplish their bucket list dreams.
There you go.
What do you mean?
Yeah, no, I've played around with it, and after a while, and I ask everyone this. After a while, I just put business owner, and then like, all right, cool.
Okay.
And
yeah,
I used to put speaker and coach, and what do you speak about? And then it's like, oh god, here we go. So, what would you love to put on there?
I think what I just said. I help people with their bucket list or with their dreams.
Yep.
Or I help them to live an exciting life.
Excellent. Now, talking about exciting lives, how long have you been doing parkour? And for those that have got no idea what parkour is, please explain.
Well, the original idea of parkour is the efficient movement from A to B. So you pick a point A, you pick a point B, and you try to get there as fast as possible. So that's like the original idea. But obviously over the year, it developed a lot, and it's more about kind of like freestyle movement. Yeah, but I mean, in the end, I always describe it as just play around as a child. Like as a kid, every one of us, we jumped from one rock to the other, and now, yeah, just keep doing that. And
you do like a triple backspin off it. Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of just use your body how it's meant to be, like just use your body.
I love it. And like we were talking offline, why I love doing this podcast is to connect with really interesting people like yourself. Although, doing parkour, hanging around parkour crew, you probably don't think it's that interesting, but because you sort of take it for granted. We take what we do for granted. I'm a keynote speaker. Wow, been doing it for 13 years. You're a parkour athlete, been doing it for a long time. And but to the listeners and the viewers out there, doing something that you're passionate about is really at the core of what this podcast is all about. Doing something that you're passionate about and paid well to do what you're passionate about is pretty freaking cool, because, right, there's so many people that are just sleepwalking through their life, wishing, hoping, praying that they could do their passion out there in the world full time. But very few get the opportunity to do it, right? And that's what we're trying to help people, obviously, through their bucket lists. So back to the parkour, like what got you into going? How do you go from amateur to pro, or how do you go from jumping off rocks as a kid to then going, hang on, this has got some legs. This is I'm going to take this a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, I mean, you need to know, like, as a kid, I tried a lot of different things. So it's not that I discovered parkour and I was like, okay, that's the thing. Like, there were a lot of different sports that I was trying to get into. And then a friend of mine in school, he told me about this movie called Yamakasi, which is about a parkour group that just jumps around in this movie. And we watched it and was like, oh, that looks cool. Let's do that. And then at some point it was really like, okay, this is actually a sport. This is something that you can practice. And yeah, I mean, that has been 16 years ago. So it's
16
like
years.
half of my life I'm doing parkour. Yeah. And
wow.
It's so interesting because back then, obviously, it was just another thing that I wanted to try, but I really stuck to that thing and it helped me with a lot of other things. And that's really like this passion that I really wish anyone can find something like this. And maybe also something to add here, because you mentioned before that it's super nice to be or to get paid for your passion as well. And obviously, it hasn't been like that from the start on. First, I think it's just so much more important to find something that you're passionate about or something that you just enjoy doing. Like, you don't even need to be passionate about. It's just something that doesn't feel like doing. It's just something that you do because you're having fun. And if you do that thing long enough, at some point you're like, okay, actually, I might be able to get paid as well.
How do you, like, commercially speaking, how do you make a living from parkour? How did you and how do others make a living from being a parkour athlete?
Yeah, I think that's the interesting part, because in the beginning, I was like, no chance I can get paid. I mean, it was not even a thought.
Yeah.
And then like 4 years into it, at some point I was like, okay, I can teach parkour to kids. So I can teach it like to the new generation. So that's definitely something you can make money. But then also I did a lot of performances. So I did a lot of live performances on events. Or also kind of stunts for commercial work, so in front of the camera. So this is what I did a lot as well. So yeah, just a lot of different things that paid my bills in the end.
And there's like a full on Red Bull like parkour kind of. Is it a world tour or circuit or competition?
They wanted to do a world tour, but it's more kind of like there's one event a year. Yeah. And yeah, I've been also competing like 3 times in those Red Bull events.
How'd you go?
Yeah, that's also a way to make money, but not as good as like commercial work. But I guess I did quite good, like especially in my first year. And maybe also there, like I remember the first time competing in the Red Bull competition, I was like, everyone else I'm competing against, they are my idols. They are like those big names I heard about when growing up with this sport. So I was just there, I was like, there's no chance I can win, or I can beat those people because they are my idols. So for me, it was just like, hey, I'm just going to do my thing, just going to do the best that I can. And it turned out that the best thing for me was also really good overall. So I think I became, or I got 5th place back then.
Oh, wow. Is Dom, well, I don't know his second name, but he goes by Dom Tomato, I think, or something like
Dom Tomaso. Yeah.
Yeah. He's pretty good too, yeah?
Yeah, he's crazy.
Ah.
Yeah. Actually, there was one year I was competing against him. They had this KO rounds, and I had to go up him. But didn't win, obviously.
And where, we will talk obviously about the bucket list stuff that, that you're doing. But as far as, and just scrolling through your Instagram feed and the shit that you've done and jumped off and then backflipped 3 times off it, is nuts. I want to talk about like fear. Like, and I guess it's relative. I went for a surf this morning, albeit the surf wasn't that big, and I love surfing big waves. And that's relative. You're comfortable in your own zone. But like that one that, you know what I'm talking about here, because I think you've pinned it. That one where you're jumping from one rock to another, one like seriously like skyscraper rock to another skyscraper rock. But you're not just jumping, you're doing this kind of cartwheel thing in the air over it. So how do you deal with fear? Like, and tell me about, like you would have seen, unfortunately, a few accidents too.
Yeah, man, it's so interesting. Like overall, like in parkour, there are so many things I started or I learned, but I only realized them the past couple of years because I used this kind of systems. I don't know if that's the right word to describe it, but I use this kind of systems in my everyday life as well. So the same thing for fear. Like obviously in parkour, fear is kind of different than you might have in other parts of your life. Because fear in parkour is kind of natural. It's like if you don't make this jump, you fall down and you get hurt, like you get physically hurt. In life, usually it's not that you get physically hurt, it's more that you get maybe mentally hurt or pain in your heart. It's kind of a different fear. But what I definitely learned is that fear is totally normal. It's just a reaction from your body. Like it's just your body or your mind trying to prevent yourself to get hurt. So it's always going to be there. And I think it's just very important to respect fear, that okay, there is fear, but there are also the options to overcome that, or meaning that to make it small, to make fear become a bit smaller. And in parkour, it's definitely like, okay, what are the things I'm worried about? So this is the first question I always ask myself, like, what is the risk? So to get back to the example with this side flip from one mountain to the other, the same there. I got up there, I was like, oh my God, like that's not going to happen. Because also, to give you a bit backstory, that's in Norway, northern Norway on the Lofoten Islands. So I had this idea a while ago. It's also something that was on my bucket list. And then I was like, okay, let's make that happen. But I've never been there. So obviously it's just, I've seen it on videos and I was like, yeah, should be possible. So first of all, I had to put an entire team together. So we were 4 people traveling to the northern Norway, everything paid by me because it's my project, and so super expensive to get there. Like we had to get 3 flights to get there. And then we had to get a climbing guide that guides us there. So at this point, I probably have spent like 4,000 to 5,000 euros just for this. And then I got up onto the rock and I was like, this is so much harder than I thought. So you're standing there with a lot of fear, and you're like, I put in so much effort already to come here. Like I need to do this now.
Gotta
But
fucking
there was
jump.
a lot of pressure on me. Yeah. And I'm like, there's just fear because I can get hurt. But then it was so important to not give up yet. It was just like, okay, I'm scared. But let's just put that fear on the side and just have a look at it. Like obviously, because of everyone else who was there, I had a lot more pressure. Probably if I would have been there by myself, I would just be like, I don't do it. But like this, I was kind of forced to put more thoughts into this. And I think that's very important for whenever you feel fear with something, that don't just give up. Don't just say, okay, I'm scared. Don't do it. At least take a moment to get serious about it. Just forget about the fear. Like, yeah, okay, I'm scared now, but what can I do to make it easier or to make the fear become a lot smaller? So in this case, what I did is I just looked at it. It's like, okay, what are the things that could happen? So I was secured to a rope when I did that. But there was also, like, because of that, there was one risk or one factor was that I get tangled up in the rope while doing the flip.
Could
Then
easily
another
have that rope go around your neck. That was...
Yeah, and then another risk was I don't jump far enough. And another risk would have been that I land, but I over-rotate and I fall down on the other side. So, I mean, even if I'm attached to this rope, to the safety rope, you still don't want to fall off because that's still going to be very painful and dangerous. So I knew about the things that could go wrong, and then I just started to break them down. I was like, okay, how can we avoid to get tangled up in the rope? So we positioned the people at the right place. They were holding the rope, so that is not an option. And the thing with not jumping far enough, that was something I knew, like, it's not going to happen because I definitely going to jump far enough. So because of that, most likely I'm going to overshoot it. And for this, we just placed someone at the end of the rock who was secured and just standing there, open arms,
ready to go.
Me. Yeah. And it's actually crazy. Like, as soon as we placed that person on the other rock, and this guy, like a good friend of mine, he was like, Joel, I got you. Like, don't worry about this. So this option was just gone. And at this point, I was like, hey, okay, I think I can do it. So it's just a lot of steps that you take trying to find solutions that doesn't make it scary anymore.
There's probably a word there to, solutions or to mitigate the fear. To lessen the fear, so it becomes more of a logical step-by-step thing. How is that, and how is, the parkour and the fear, how is that mapped into other areas of your life? Where have you leaned on parkour and everything that you experienced there? And when we're talking about this jump here, guys, too, like if you just have to, we'll put it in the show notes. We'll put Joel's links into the description here. You have to check out this jump. It's incredible. How is this stuff mapped into other areas of your life for you?
I mean, that's such a cliche thing that a lot of parkour people say, but in parkour, you have obstacles to overcome. So do you in life. It's like the same. You have obstacles in life as well. And what parkour definitely taught me is that, there are obstacles, but you can overcome them by taking step by step. And I think that's the same what I just explained with the fear for this side flip across this rock. Just take the time, break it down, and try to figure out, like, what are the things that you're worried about. And yeah, I mean, that's definitely the main thing I learned, or that I can take from parkour into everyday life as well.
Now, Joel, too, you weren't really, I mean, with 1.1, I think, million views on this YouTube clip was, which my son, before actually interviewing you, I told him I was interviewing you. And we're a little bit Tesla obsessed here at this house. So my son had actually seen your clip. So you weren't actually, coming up against any fear, I don't think, about sleeping in your Tesla. But the cool thing about your channel is you've got all these bucket list things that you've obviously crossed off your list, and you've filmed them, and the filming is unreal. You've done obviously a lot of filming, and it's better than my ability with my iPhone kind of thing, shaking away. What's the story behind your Tesla and sleeping in it?
I mean, overall, I'm just a big fan of doing unique things. That's probably the reason why I'm doing parkour as well. Like, something that not everyone does. So I've been sleeping in cars for quite some time already, because I just think it's such an easy thing, or an easy way to travel. Like, you just sleep in your car so you can save money for hotels and stuff. And also, you get to see places or sleep at places where you usually don't get to sleep.
Are you part of the van life community?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could say so. But I'm more kind of a fan of just sleeping in regular cars, or not a van, but just like, I mean, there are so many times I've been sleeping in rental cars, like even if it's just a sedan or something, like not even a big van, just put something in the back and you sleep on it, and it's fine.
That's it. No. Yeah. And just on that, have you done some work with film companies like GoPros and like camera companies and that sort of thing? Because you seem to have that really that part of it all pretty dialed in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially because for the things I do, like especially back when I did a lot of parkour, it's like brands like those kind of action cameras, they were just so related. So I wanted to film my parkour anyway, or my jumps. So it was like, yeah, why not just use a brand that you can work with as well?
Yeah. Your recent one, you put out a recent video with it. Is it Insta360 or something like that?
Yeah, I do a lot with them.
Yeah. And you're jumping off, I don't know what the hell you're jumping off. You're jumping off something that's big a bunch of times, and this camera stays on. So is that an endorsement? Do they pay you to do that, or you get free cameras? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a collaboration.
Cool.
And yeah, I really like it. I also like big shout outs to them, because believing in me and like keep getting back to me with more work, because it's also something that relates so well for my adventures. So it doesn't really feel like work. It's more something that while I'm traveling, I get to create content for them, which they can use as well. Yeah. So just like I've been in Dubai for a week, or last week, and it was perfect. Like, I get to create content for them, and at the same time, I can use the content for my own purpose as well, and go on my bucket list adventures too.
That's it. Now, tell me, good pivot towards the bucket list. Why are you so passionate about bucket lists yourself?
I think I just realized how many amazing things there are that you can do in your life. And obviously, because of parkour, I had a lot of like-minded people around me that were also really passionate about going on adventures. And I just started to realize that in the end, everyone wants to do exciting things in their life, but often it's just that they don't know how, or they don't have like-minded people around them who can support them and to go, or who can join them as well. So I just started to realize, like, there is something out there that has to be shared. And I think you have a similar mission as well. It's just like, how amazing it can be to do those things that you're passionate about. And you know about this feeling when you get to take off something, or not even take off, like when you get to work on something that you're excited about. So it's kind of like this mission of, inspiring people to feel the same.
That's it. Yeah, fair to say that we definitely share the same passion there, man. And helping people live their bucket lists. You know, we're doing it from different perspectives, and you've gone one step further, which I love, and I want to dig into right now. What led to you creating the app? And please, go for it with the app. What's it called? What does it do? What was the thought process when you launched it? Go for it.
Yeah. Maybe can I share another story that I think is important to get some context as well?
Oh, yeah, of course. I've forgotten all about it. You're, go for it.
Yeah, because it's definitely
that's on my next page of questions that I did not look at. Okay.
So many questions that you want to get to.
Yeah.
No, I think it's very important to understand for everyone who's listening that the reason why I really got into this, and the reason why I'm so passionate about and why I want to share this, is because in 2019, my dad got diagnosed with cancer. And it was it came as such a surprise. Like, just no one expected that, obviously. And it was a very aggressive cancer. Like the doctor actually, like I found that out last year, that the doctors who diagnosed that, he has been in this field for like 20 years. And in his career, he never had a patient who was diagnosed with such an aggressive kind of cancer. So it's just like, oh my God. So obviously, like, doctors have told him, like, yeah, maybe you only have a couple of more months left to live. And it was very emotional, of course. And I was on this phone call with my dad because, he's in Switzerland and I'm in Austria. So we were talking for like 2 or 3 hours, like very long, and the most emotional conversation I ever had with him.
And you're obviously close. You're obviously close with him as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because, for many reasons. But it was also the first time I heard him crying, which was just so unusual for me, and totally understand that, And funny enough, I had this idea of this bucket list app before that. And we will get into this later. But I told him about this bucket list, and he was like, actually, I also have this bucket list. Like, already when he was a kid, he had these ideas of want to go to Australia, want to go to America, want to get the truck's driver license. So a lot of things that he was just passionate about.
Yeah.
And by now, like, he's 60 now, he has done all of those things. Like, he has been to Australia many times, to US. He's driving a truck for fun, and just like a lot of things. So he was like, hey, he has done all the things he ever wanted to do. So even if this disease could mean death for him, he would be fine.
Yeah.
And I think this is just such a powerful thing, and so important for everyone to understand that when you're able to say that in your life, you've done it. Like, you completed life.
No regrets.
And yeah, exactly. No regrets. And that's just so important, because a lot of people, they maybe start to write their bucket list when they are in a bad situation, like when they get diagnosed with cancer. They're like, okay, what do I still want to do? But the goal here is to think about your bucket list before you get diagnosed with cancer, or before you get into a bad situation. Because the thing is, you never know what happens. You never know when your life is going to change.
Yeah. We definitely said, it's the same mission, mate, is to wake people up before they get given a use-by date. And unfortunately, it is a breakdown before breakthrough kind of situation. And the mess. What do I say to speakers? I get a lot of speakers and people who want to speak and coach and write a book and this sort of thing. It's the message. The mess becomes their message, and as a result, that's what gets us to move. But why don't people think like this, Joel? Why don't people have the foresight, I guess, the proactiveness to live their list before it? Why does it take a use-by date for people to get off their ass and go and do something?
Yeah, because it's too comfortable. It takes courage. It takes courage to change something. And, already before that thing with my dad, I was always asking myself, do you really need to feel, or do you really need to fall really deep in order to realize something? Do you really need to go through pain, through struggle to realize that, hey, I should live my life. I shouldn't just exist. So, yes, if you fall deep, the chances are higher that you realize something, but I can tell you that it's not necessary. I've been living a quite exciting life without really having to go through a lot of struggle. And I think already 10 years ago, I feel very privileged to already being on a lot of adventures and stuff like that really excited me. And so, yes, I think there is a way to do something exciting, to live life without having to go through the dark moments.
Yeah, we're gonna kind of get people to act as if, act as if, give them a virtual cancer diagnosis, because that, unfortunately, is the thing that wakes people up. And I know when I go out and do speeches around the world and keynote presentations, it really, I can get hated on. I've had people heckle me. I've had people get not full on triggered by the content, but look, I'm only there for an hour and a half, maybe, doing a keynote presentation. So the job there is to go in there and disrupt their life, give them a different perspective to look at their life through. Otherwise, you add no value. You're a sheep. It's vanilla. And we don't want people to go through the pain. But unfortunately, I know this from 20 years of personal training, mate. It's pain that gets us to move. It's away from motivation that gets us to move from where we are, rather than what they call toward motivation. There's away from motivation and there's toward motivation. I want to get away from pain. That is the motivator of choice, and that will get people going first and foremost, unfortunately, versus toward motivation, like an athlete going for a gold medal or winning a parkour competition or going towards their vision board. Unfortunately, it's the pain that gets people to actually start and get over that initial inertia, to start moving in the direction of their dreams. But what we can do is remind them, I guess, and that's what I do. Anyone who's watching and listening right now, have a think about all the examples in the last 5 years of people who have been diagnosed or gone through trauma or gone through a level of pain, friend or family member. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we've all got examples around us, right? And just let that sink in for a while, because I know that when people, hey, look, go to a funeral, see a friend going through something traumatic, get diagnosed, then they say, I'm going to live my life differently now. Thanks for the signpost. But how long does that last? So that's where your app is beautiful, because we've all got examples around us. What we've got to do is plug into a network, plug into a group of people, plug into a tribe that can help support our initial inertia, getting away from the pain and getting amongst a community that we're all going forward with.
Yeah, my idea is to just make it normal that you do the things that excite you. That you don't even have to think about, okay, what should I do before I die? I really wish that everyone is just doing the things that excites them. Like everyone is like, okay, I have this funny idea. I want to do this crazy thing. So let's just do it. And not that it's this thing of like, okay, I have one more week left to live. What should I do?
I know.
It's more kind of just take action on the things that you want to do and create those memories. So it just make it a normal thing. And that's why I think it's so important to have this community of like-minded people who do that as well. So whether that's what you're doing, like the people that you are inspiring with your keynotes and your content, or that's the community that we have on the app. It's just like you do that thing because it's normal to do that thing.
That's it. So talk to me, like the app looks amazing, and the ecosystem of the app, it's really about, give us the broad, like the summary of what's inside the app, and we'll put links to it and talk about the campaign on Indiegogo as well. But essentially it's about putting a community of bucket listers together who are all going, wanting to tick stuff off their list, right? And then there's a visual.
Exactly. So as I mentioned earlier, I think, or I just figured out that most people, they don't go after their bucket list because they don't know how, and also because they don't have like-minded people around them who they can do it with, or who can just help them and support them. And because of parkour, I was always surrounded by like-minded people. And obviously that's such a privilege.
Crazy people, but like-minded,
people, yeah.
Crazy but like-minded people, yeah.
Exactly. And with the app, the idea is to connect people with each other. So for example, if you want to climb Kilimanjaro, but none of your friends is brave enough to do that or wants to do that with you. So normally this person would be like, okay, I cannot really do it alone. And then this dream is dead again. But the idea with the app is that now this person can search for Kilimanjaro on the platform, and then it will show people from their city or just people who live close by who they can connect with and do that thing together.
So it really is it's a social networking thing too.
It is. A lot of people refer to it as Tinder for goals.
Oh, there you go.
So that's definitely the one big side on the app, that the app connects you with like-minded people, or we also want to implement those features that it shows you similar goals. So something that there's maybe another person that doesn't want to climb Kilimanjaro, but he wants to climb Matterhorn. So it's like most likely you can connect with those people as well.
So are you a coder? How did you put all this together? You put a team together?
Oh, man, no. Unfortunately not. It's like you have this idea. It's like, it would be so cool to have this mobile app. And then the way I am, I'm like, okay, let's just do it. I tried to find developers and it's like, okay, I found this one guy. Let's do this. And then time goes on and it's like, shoot, like this is so much more work. It's so much more expensive. It's complicated. Coding is complicated. Like it's always the same. Like in the beginning, you're like, it's easy. You just develop this app. But no, this is not how it works.
And that's exactly why coders rule the world, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah. So that was 2.5, 3 years ago. So already quite some time. And we launched 2 years ago with like the first basic platform where people can just share their list and they can look through other bucket lists as well from other people. And then they can also reach out to them, but it's very basic, And maybe another thing that I would love to make bigger, and maybe I come back to you as well with that, or I will reach out to you again. Because one side is definitely the knowledge part as well. Like one idea is also to have like an entire learning platform on there where people can educate themselves on how to go after the things or how to overcome fear. Like, yeah, or even having like online classes on there Like there are so many ideas.
Yeah,
I think that would be very important.
I've done a book that's got a bunch of ideas and all the, I guess, the philosophy and the psychology around it. So yeah, no, we're talking the same language, mate. All good. We'll get something going.
So that's why like getting the content of this book in the app and even have like online license with you on there.
Yeah.
Like this is the idea. Just
we'll workshop it.
Yeah, one platform that makes it as easy as possible for everyone to create exciting memories. Like that's the idea of the app.
Love it. So you started with Kickstarter, and then you've gone to Indiegogo. Now, again, for people who don't know what Kickstarter and Indiegogo is, please explain. Go for it.
It's complicated to develop an app, and the process is very slow because I'm paying everything out of my own pockets. Probably so far I invested around 40,000 euros into this app, but I want to make it a lot better. Like what I just said, like so many ideas that I still have. So I was like, hey, let's try to do this let's try to make a crowdfunding campaign where people can support this, and hopefully together we can improve that platform so we can help more people faster. And so Kickstarters and Indiegogo, they are like crowdfunding campaigns where you can raise money.
And the interesting, and I want to extract as many learnings out of this conversation for people as possible. So you told me the other day with Kickstarter, if you say, I want to raise 50 grand, and you get to $49,999, then you don't get to keep that $4,999. It goes back to the people and show's over. Whereas Indiegogo is like, you get that $4,999 and you can still play on and develop, whatever you needed to develop and launch your thing. So you don't have to hit the target. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, the idea of Kickstarter is more that you get to fund a prototype of a product.
Yeah.
Because like people who pre-order your product, they want to get your product, obviously. So that's why it wouldn't make sense if you wouldn't raise enough money in order to produce that thing that they bought.
For sure.
But now, obviously, with the app, it's like we can still improve some of the features. So it makes more sense to do Indiegogo, where you get to keep everything.
Now, while we're on it, how can people, we're going to keep talking here, but how can people engage in and support your Indiegogo campaign?
It's simple. I mean, you're probably going to put a link in the description. Indiegogo, you can just donate as much as you can, as much as you want. You get different benefits when you do so, and then hopefully very soon you get access to the app.
There you go. You could do a parkour lesson, jumping off a mountain onto another mountain with Joel. That is one of the.
If someone has the exact same goal, I'm happy to.
That's on my bucket list, mate. Fuck that. I'm not doing that. So that's cool. And we'll put the links in there, guys. So but also you can download the app as well. So the app is on where do I get it from?
App Store, Google Play Store. It's already available. It's also free.
Yep.
That's
cool.
That's
another thing. What is it? Tues? What's the site?
Yeah. So the name is Tues. So it's like Tuesday without day. And to explain the name, it's actually German. Like Tues in German means do it.
Oh, there you go.
So I think it's the reason for, or what we need to do for pretty much everything that we want to do is we just need to do it. Like it just comes down to taking the first step, just to let's do it. So I thought it's kind of funny to use that as a name.
All right, so it's TUES.
Bucket list app.
Oh yeah, just bucket list app. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Hey, what are the top 3 things that you've done on your bucket list thus far? Top 3 things.
It's always a difficult question, but I think the side flip, that was something I'm very proud of, like from on top of the mountain. It also taught me a lot of lessons. So that was definitely a good one. Then I recently ticked off seeing the Northern Lights.
I saw that.
That was a big one too, especially
because did I see that you went back like 3 times, or 2 or 3 times to try and see it?
It took me 3 attempts. So again, I think the top bucket list items that I ticked off, it's like something that I learned something with that. So same with the Northern Lights. It's like, just keep on trying. Like, don't expect something to happen right away.
No, funny you should mention the Northern Lights, because that's still on my bucket list as well. I haven't done it yet. And it's probably getting to the Northern Lights is a little bit more, let's say, accessible than it is for us Australians. But a friend of mine who's got a little bit of money, he went to the Northern Lights with his family. They stayed in igloos, or at least, the hotel with the glass ceilings and the bubbles. And it was cloudy. They couldn't see the Northern Lights. And he's like, and they'd done the midnight dog sledding, the whole, went up to Lapland, I think, and saw Santa Claus, the whole bit with the family. And he was really pissed.
I'm just laughing because someone told me the exact same story about a friend from his.
Oh, there you go.
So maybe it's the same friend, but it's like an exact same thing.
Well, what this guy did was he went, because he was running out of time, and he's like, I've got to fly back to Australia. I'm here to see the fucking Northern Lights. So he literally just he hired a small plane, put all his family in it, and went above the clouds.
No way! Wow. Okay.
Which is next level, right?
Yeah, but it worked out.
Oh, got it done.
That's good.
Apparently, when he landed, everything cleared up.
Okay, and then they saw them again, or what?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's another example. Like, there are different ways to make that possible.
Oh, you got to adapt.
It's probably still would have been cheaper than flying back to Lapland from Australia.
Yeah, that's
the entire family.
100%. So you jump off those rocks. You've done the Northern Lights. What was the third one? This is like, by the way, when someone asked me this question, so what's the top 3 things on your bucket list, Trav? I'm like, it's like choosing who's your favorite kid.
Yeah. So for everyone who's watching,
dude,
this is my list.
This
100
is sick.
things that I want to do.
That's unreal.
Yeah. So I have this for quite some time already, for 3 years or something. There are 100 things, and I think I ticked off almost 40 by now.
So the red one's the one that you've knocked off, or the crossed off?
Yeah, exactly. They're crossed off.
Read some of those out.
Yeah. So ticked off is like, yes, Northern Lights is on the top. Skydiving license is something that I did. Off-roading adventure through Iceland, that was good memory too. But yeah, there are a lot of things, like even going wild camping with my dad.
Yeah,
that's also something on there. Yeah,
you've got 5 or 6 of them that involve, like, it starts with backflip or front flip or side flip off something and about 5 or 6 of those, dude.
Obviously, yeah. But yeah, I mean, there are also things like cuddle an alpaca llama.
Ah, yes.
Like it's not always about something crazy. It's also something fun. I also just like, alpaca, that's something cool. Like, let's cuddle one.
They can be arseholes, those alpacas.
Luckily, I picked a good one. Yeah,
that's kind of like cuddling a great white shark. So, okay, the top 3 things you're yet to do on your bucket list. What are they?
I'm practicing kick flips right now. I want to land a kick flip on on the skateboard.
On a skatey. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
And actually, it sounds crazy, but I'm flying to New York today, actually. So it's another trip that is coming up.
Oh, wow. You've never been to New York?
No, I've been there before. But yeah, I'm going there again with Insta360. So it's another collaboration. So yeah, feel very fortunate to be able to do that.
Very cool.
Fun enough, because I told Insta360 that it's number 6 on my list to do an open door helicopter ride.
I know that one. Yeah,
exactly. So I wanted to do that for quite some time. So I told them about it. I was like, hey, I can film some stuff there. And they're like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So that should happen tomorrow. Man, that sounds so unreal when you're like flying to New York today and tomorrow flying in a helicopter. But
very cool, mate.
Yeah, that's another thing that's happening.
That's the life. Look, what does a bucket list life mean to you?
It's taking action on things that you want to do without overthinking it. I feel like a bucket list is kind of a physical or a tangible reason to go after your dreams. So I think the bucket list is just here for you to see, to give you like a real reason, if that makes sense, how I explain that. But in the end, I think it's bucket list lifestyle is just about do the things that you always wanted to do or that you want to do. So yeah, just take action on the things that you want to do.
Perfect. And mate, we'll wrap this up, and obviously we're going to have a conversation about the app and the development of that and going forward and how we can combine forces. But in the meantime, people watching and listening to this, how can people connect with you, Joel?
The best way is definitely through Instagram. Yeah, Instagram, Joel_Eggimann is my name on there. And please reach out. Like I respond to all the messages I get. Like if anyone wants to know something, if they need help, also feel free to ask me if I know some people somewhere with which they can connect. Because how I said, like we have over 2,000 people on the app from all around the world. Because of parkour, I know a lot of people all over the place. So most likely I might be able to connect you guys with someone with which you can go after your bucket list goal.
And that's what it's all about, you know, and that's how we connected. I direct messaged you and I said, let's love your stuff. And I've connected with, who's the other guy? Justin, I think?
Jonas.
Where is I get Justin from? I don't know. Yeah. So we'll have a chat to him and hopefully the three of us can, come together and have a bit more of a chat about how our communities can combine.
Yeah. And this is so funny. I mean, it's so amazing how well we get to connect just because we know we share the same passion. And this is what it is all about. It's like if you find people who want to do similar things like you get to be friends with them really fast. Like you get to connect very fast.
And thank you for the invite to go bungee surfing. So that is fucking cool.
We'll do that, yeah.
And if you want the reference to bungee surfing, just go to Joel's Instagram account and you'll see what we're talking about here. That looks sick. So
it is fun.
Yeah. So, dude, can't wait to get you down here to Australia again and can't wait to connect with you in person. But, mate, we'll definitely connect around the app and everything that's going on in your world and our worlds and see how it can help more people. So thanks heaps for being on the Bucket List Life podcast today, mate.
Yeah, thank you so much, Trav, for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening to the Bucket List Life podcast with the world's #1 bucket list expert, Trav Bell. For more great content, go to www.thebucketlistguy.com. We'll see you next time.